Met, we praise the judge of truth. Do you see what's on the tie?
What is it? Fireworks? I don't know. Oh, the fly lures.
Fishing lures.
Fishing lures.
I have like 300 ties. When you talked about fishing, I
have the tie for this occasion.
Man, it's ice fishing, but it's still fishing. Baruch Dayan Ha'emet, we praise the judge of truth. I'd like to begin with Psalm 121. It's cold, so I would try to snuggle together the best you can. Asai enai el haharim me'ayin yavo Ezri. Ezri me'im Adonai oseh shamayim va'aretz. Al yitain lamot raglecha, al yanum shomrecha. Hinei lo yanum v'lo yishan shomer Yisrael. Adonai shomrecha, Adonai tzircha al yad yaminecha. Yomam hashemesh lo yekeka v'yarech balayla. Adonai yishmarcha mikol ra yishmor et nafshecha. Adonai yishmar tzeicha v'echa me'ata v'ad olam. I lift up mine eyes unto the mountains, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. The protector will not slumber. See, the protector of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. The Lord is your guardian. He is your protection at your right hand. The sun will not strike thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will guard you from all harm. He will guard your soul. You're going and you're coming, now and forever. We gather to pay respects and to solemnly remember and to laughingly remember our dear Bob Cohen. So today also let us recite in English the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. It is a privilege to call forward to speak of his dear grandfather, his dear grandpa, Zvi. Sam to come forward and talk about grandpa.
Grandpa, you were a great role model. You taught me how to be a great man. A lot of the things that you did, I do by just watching how you and Grandma interacted for 4 years was a lot of fun during dental school. It taught me a lot of things about life. He taught me that there's a little compartment in the dryer that has to be emptied after you dry your clothes. And after one winter of not emptying the dryer, I got a good talking to about almost burning their house down. There was a small-sized rabbit-looking lint ball in the dryer. He never let me hear the end of that. He would come home from Florida with Grandma at some inopportune times sometimes and surprise me. One time to find the backyard full of feathers from a goose that my friend Nick and I had cleaned out. But he always had the right thing to say. And everything he did the right way. He never tried to cut corners. I would go grocery shopping with him, and he'd always take the grocery cart back into the grocery cart place and not leave it next to the car. And I would tell him that he don't have to do that. There's people that collect the carts, but he said one of his phrases that's just the kind of guy I am. And we like that guy. We all loved Grandpa. And we're all going to remember Grandpa. And he's in my head every day. And I'll always remember him. And he wanted this family to be together, and everybody came together for this, and he'd be very happy. He'd be very happy to see everybody here, and it would mean a lot. And he wouldn't want us to be very sad about this. He'd want us to celebrate him, because he always had a smile. He was never one to complain. He was never one to be pessimistic or look down on things. He would always know what to say, and he would always make everybody around him feel so good. And it was a great time living with him for 4 years and with Grandma. I guess that's it. Thank you. The what? The lint ball, yeah.
The lint ball. And to those words spoken as a prayer, let us say Amen. We gather this afternoon to fulfill the solemn obligation of paying our respects to the memory of dearly departed Robert Cohn. His Hebrew name was Reuven, which means behold a son, or behold a great-grandson. It's the same thing. Reuven, Ben, Daniel, Rachel. And this assembly is a comfort and a support to the sorrowing family. Bob was a mensch. He was a good guy. The grandson said so. But even his sister-in-law said so. And as we know, when a sister-in-law praises a guy, that's actually pretty high praise. Gloria said Bob was a good one. They don't make many like him. The volume and variety of stories about Bob reminded me of a favorite Talmudic lesson from Tractate Yoma, which has to do with the day Yom Kippur. When the temple stood in Jerusalem on the holiest day of the year, on Yom Kippur, the high priest would enter into the Holy of Holies, the innermost part of the sanctuary, and he would offer prayers on behalf of himself, that he would be worthy to represent the community, and then on behalf of his family, that they would also be cleansed of their transgressions, and then the whole household of Israel. The assembled Israelites waited for him to return. And then afterward, the Talmud says that the high priest would read a brief section from the Torah. It doesn't say which section, but if you're the high priest, you can pretty much find the section you want to read. What is a brief section? And then he would conclude by saying this: far more than I have read to you is written therein. And so it is for us today. Far more than I can ever describe. Far more than what I will share with you here is your dearly departed Robert Cohn. The love you feel for him, you express by your spoken remembrances and your unspoken remembrances, your laughter, your tears. You are extolling his virtues and his qualities. We are poorer for his loss. And at the same time, we are much, much richer for the wealth of memories and lessons he has bequeathed unto us. He was born here in Cleveland on a warmer day than today. He was born on May 2nd, 1933. His parents, Daniel and Rose, both of blessed memory. He was a middle child of 3. Leonard, his older brother, of blessed memory, married Gloria. Bob, of blessed memory. And his younger sister, Sharon, husband, Roger. He went to Cleveland Heights High School, graduated Heights High in about 1953. Afterward, he went to Ohio University, where he met Shirley Brody. Shirley said, we met after he graduated Ohio University. We met on a date in Cleveland. Rabbi Rosenthal did our wedding ceremony on August 25th, 1957 at Heights Temple, along with Cantor Meisels. He never left Cleveland except for vacation. We had good times. He was a good guy. And the children said Mom and Dad were very devoted to one another. They showed us a good example of how to raise a family. And during their nearly 64 years of marriage, many have been the blessings of family. If I leave anybody out, call it out, okay? I don't want to leave anybody out by accident. I want to do it on purpose if I'm going to do it. So we'll make sure that children, Dale married to Cindy, Stephen married to Susan, Lisa married to Brian. And then the grandchildren, Robin, Ryan, Rachel, Jamie married to Matthew, Samuel, girlfriend Banna,
Otis.
I was going to mention Otis. I didn't even get a chance to breathe. And Otis, I saw a picture of Otis with Shirley. Otis was looking good on the wheelchair arm. Good balance, but he's a duck. All right. A grandson, Noah, and Joshua, and Haley, and Jamie. So we have 3 children, 9 grandchildren, and great-grandchild, Asher Bennett, with 2 N's and 2 T's. They were snowbirds I'll get to that. And they were snowbirds in Florida. Dale, you said, we were there in Florida in 1969. You've probably told this story a bunch. When Apollo 11 was on the launch pad. And how cool is that? Dad used to work at Kane Park as one of the lighting guys at the theater there. He was an electrician by trade because his father was an electrician. Then he got into the glass business at a place called A&J Glass Company. Then he went to work for Empire Glass. We closed it in the mid-2000s so that he could retire. He had a green thumb. He could grow anything. He loved plants. Even when they moved into their house in Solon, he was always growing stuff in the basement. Steve loves to do that too, and remember that there were times when they would make and sell terrariums at a show downtown. Lisa, you said he treated us equally. He was really involved in Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts and helped out with the Bluebirds too. He was one of the few dads that did that. He helped out that way. In 2010, Sharon's granddaughter had her bat mitzvah in Israel. And Dad and I flew there for a couple of weeks and toured around. It was the only time he ever went to Israel, and I volunteered to go with him. It was a great time. He always wanted to go. He always really wanted to go. We had a great time. Steve, you said when I was 10, 12, 13, 14, 11, was in there too. I would go there. I would go with Dad to work on Saturdays. And he was not the boss then. He was behind the curtain. His 3 uncles owned the company. And my dad would bring a box of donuts for the guys who worked on Saturdays, just to say thanks and offer, a donut and foster a nice relationship with the guys. And you also remember that every year at Christmas, right around Christmas, he went out and would buy a bottle of whiskey, probably something like Canadian Club, and at the end of the day with the guys, whoever's working there, they would do a little l'chaim, for the it was for Christmas usually, but with the cheers for Christmas. But for us Jews, it was a l'chaim, even if it is for Christmas. I learned by watching, much as Tzvi said here. I learned by watching how my dad treated his employees. It really helped me become a good boss at my company. And we have about 35 employees. And when I first started working there, I would go in on the Saturday, and guess what? I went in and I bought donuts and I took it in to warm them up. It was a great lesson. Dad loved fishing, and you're sending along a fishing board with him. If you remembered, all right, you'll drop it in. Lisa, when Dad had some lucid moments, you said we were able to FaceTime him so that he could see Asher. Dad said, he looks like me. Sam, that was something. Dental school, living with grandparents. And Grandpa Bob used to say to you, the number 32 has some significance to you. This is what Dale remembered, right? A long time ago, Dad said, all you have to do is be able to count to 32. Grandpa stories. All right, we already told the story about the feathers in the backyard. Vanna, you said we love Grandpa and are so thankful for the times we spent with him. One time my hands were so dirty in Cleveland, so Grandpa turned on the sink for me and put soap in my hands too. And now every time I wash my hands, I think of him, which is a lot these days.
That's too much.
Noah, what about when I was reeling in a fish and Grandpa said, that's going to be a big one. And I pulled it up and it was a stingray. And he said, better cut her loose. Jamie, who is here in spirit and maybe on TV. Grandpa
Right here.
became, hi James. Oh, hey, Mazel tov, you guys.
And Aunt Sharon.
Oh, how beautiful. Oh, and Aunt Sharon.
Yeah.
It's warmer in Florida there. Jamie, Grandpa became the guest of honor when he crashed my bachelorette party in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
All the girls wanted their picture with Grandpa. And we have some great photos. Luckily, he only had eyes for one woman, my grandma. And it was very special to see them dance together at our wedding. And we have great photos of that too. Matthew. It was a nice feeling like I had a new grandpa being part of this family. Once I picked up Grandpa to run to the grocery store and library, and when I arrived at the condo, Grandma from the back yelled, "Who is it?" Grandpa replied, "It's Matthew." This went back and forth for some time as Grandma couldn't hear. Grandpa rolled his eyes, basically saying, "This is what you have to look forward to." It was love. Grandpa was such a great guy. Baby Asher will know all about him. Steve and Susan, you recall, we have great memories of visiting Grandma and Grandpa in Florida at their condo. First we came with baby Jamie, the next year with Jamie and baby Sam. 3 years later it was Jamie, Sam, and baby Noah. Why stop at 4? The Jewish people needs more. Finally, when we added Josh and we had 8 people in Grandma and Grandpa's 2-bedroom condo, we decided we needed a second condo. Grandpa taught all of the kids to swim at the Siesta Key swimming pool. He also was Josh's go-to guy to have a fishing friend on the fishing dock. Josh and his brothers and sister loved fishing with Grandpa on the Pepper Tree dock. He always had a lot of Grandpa stories he would tell, oftentimes telling his grandkids about their father's misbehaviors when he was a kid. In Florida, Sharon said it's been a very tough year with dialysis and the hard things and the sugar problems, and he's been in and out of the hospital. Bob's been in and out of the hospital, and thank God now he's at peace. And on Friday he breathed his last. And now there is no more deterioration or pain. There's just rest and wholeness and peace. His soul is returning to God and to be with the souls of his dear relatives and friends and the ancestors of our people. We learn this in Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 7. The dust returns to the earth as it was. The spirit returns to God who gave it. So now he is at peace. And one day all of us will join our loved ones in Olam Haba, which is the world to come. This is Olam Haba is an eternal time. The soul returns to God, and you will be together with the souls of your loved ones. No one should be in a hurry. However, our faith is that you will be together again. This is a place. Olam Haba is a time. The family has allowed us to send along a High Holy Days prayer book with him, because not only is it a mitzvah, a religious obligation to bury the body of our loved one with respect and dignity, but also for holy books of our tradition. So we thank the family very much. You have many, many memories of Robert Cohen. We thank God for the gift of this life, almost 88 years. And as you think of him, you should consider doing a little fishing, you should do some gardening, you should definitely share donuts with others. I was wearing a donuts tie for religious school today because I was thinking of your dad. I couldn't do that and the fishing were at the same time. So I wore a donuts tie for your dad this morning, and you should also be helping and caring and to others, and do this in his loving memory. For only through our deeds can the world be compensated for his loss. And so we say with tears in our eyes, words from the first chapter of the book of Job. Adonai natan, v'Adonai lakach, v'hi shem Adonai nuvarach. The Lord hath given, the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Amen. We're going to have them lower. Ose shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. May God, who causes peace to reign in the high heavens, cause peace to rain down upon us, upon all Israel, upon the soul of our dearly departed Bob Cohen. And let us say Amen.
Amen.
Into your care, O God, we entrust the spirit of our dear Robert Cohen. For you keep faith with your children in death as in life. Sustain us that we may meet with serenity the mysteries that lie ahead. Knowing that when we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you, O God, are with us, a loving friend in whom we put our trust. You are the light of our life, our hope in eternity. Usually for El Maleh Rachamim, people stand, and everyone stands except for people in the front row.
No, there's a person in the back row.
Oh, and in the back row, but I'm not tall enough to see, through, so sorry about that. El Maleh Rachamim, Shochen Bamromim, Ametzem Rucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei Hashchina, Im Kedoshim U'Tohorim, V'Zohar Rakia Mazirim, Et Nishmat Reuven ben Daniel Baracho, Shalach Olamo, Ba'al Harachamim, Yaskireh B'Tzetek Nafav Le'olamim, Vayitzror B'Tzor HaChaim, Et Nishmato, Adonai Hu Nachalato, Yanuach b'shalom al mishkavo, v'nomar Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to our dear Bob Cohen. He has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let him find refuge in the shadow of your wings, and let his soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is his inheritance. May he rest in peace, and let us say,
Amen.
Amen. Together, let us sanctify God's name as we will call Bob, and let us say the Kaddish prayer.
Here, I got it.
I know you do, I know. Sort of.
I know you do.
Sort of.
I just don't
Okay.
want somebody to fall.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah. Ba'alma divra chirutei v'yamalif malchutei. V'chayechon v'yomechon v'chay l'chol Beit Yisrael. Ba'gala v'zman kari v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah muvarach le'olam u'lomei al-mayam. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmeid kudusha b'richu. Le'elam min kol berachata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, damiran ba'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru amen. Let the glory of God be extolled, let his great name be hallowed in the world whose creation he willed. May his kingdom soon prevail in our own day, our own lives, and the life of all Israel, and let us say, Amen.
Amen.
Let his great name be blessed forever and ever. Let the name of the Holy One, blessed be he, be glorified, exalted, and honored, though he is beyond all the praises, songs, and adorations that we can utter, and let us say, Amen. For us and for all Israel, may the blessing of peace and the promise of life come true, and let us say, Amen. May he who causes peace to reign in the high heavens, let peace descend on us, on all Israel, and let us say, Amen. And now we will help escort his body to its final resting place. Anyone who wishes to may place earth upon the casket, and if it were warm, we would place more earth on the casket, but I think that we will do a little. Then you guys go to your cars, and then I'll do the ribbon with you in your nice warm car. Okay. And then we'll sing Kaddish for him for the whole month at Temple Israel Maritime. Every time we have religious school, the kids will sing Kaddish for Bob.